guys, wanted to go ahead and show you a quick recipe to make for the kids as they're home. There are some things you can add to it too to make it even healthier. This does have protein in it because of the peanut butter, but we're going to be making some chocolate no-bake cookies. So we're going to start off in our pan. We're going to put it on fairly low heat. We're going to start off by putting in a half a stick of butter. Who knew this would be the biggest challenge? Now this is salted butter that it called for. If you do not have salted butter, add a dash of butter in with it. So I have one stick of butter, so that's a half a cup. I have 1 3/4 cup of sugar. This isn't a health food, just so you know. A third of a cup of cocoa powder. And a half a cup of milk. And so what we want to do, this is really like a candy method. So we're going to be cooking this together. And I kind of take the edge of the spoon and break up the butter some in there. And you want to have this on a warm enough heat so it's melting it, but so not so high that it's going to scorch or curdle your milk. So I'm just going to keep the spoon moving in there. I'm using a wooden spoon, of course, so one, it doesn't hurt a metal pan, not that it would this one, but also so that it doesn't get too hot as I hold it this entire time. Now what I want to do with this mixture is bring it to a boil. This is really a candy method that you're starting with the cookies. We're not going to use a candy thermometer. It's way easier than that. And if you're making this with your kids, of course, watch that you're by the flame. You don't want kids just standing at a flame by themselves, so make sure that you're with them while they do this. This is a great recipe when I had all my kids at home that we would double this recipe. You can also freeze it after it's made, so that's really nice as well. So eventually, when we're no longer sheltered at home, you can keep these in the freezer and take them out when your friends are coming over, hopefully this summer. Another thing, this recipe will call for peanut butter and oatmeal and then vanilla. You never want to add your vanilla while it's still cooking for any recipe. Vanilla over the flame, it's going to get really bitter. So bitter is not better, bitter is better. So we don't want to add that in until it's off of the heat source. So we're just going to keep stirring this. And we really want it to come to a full boil. And we want to be really strict with that 1 minute. Now the recipe, this particular recipe that I'm using, and most of them that you will find will call for quick cooking oats to be added to it. You could use either one. It'll give a little bit different texture depending on which one you do use. The batch I made earlier, I used just old-fashioned oats. I really prefer that, but a lot of people like the quick oats instead. So we're just waiting for this to boil here. And you can start to see that there are some bubbles coming up in it, but again, I wanted it a full rolling boil. I don't want it just bubbling around the outside edges before I start that 1 minute. Okay, so you see that it's starting to boil around the outside edges, but I'm not going to start my 1 minute timer yet until I see it boiling all over. Now it's starting to come to a fuller boil. And so I'm going to go ahead and start my watch. All right, so as our 1 minute is finishing up here, we're going to go ahead and remove it from the heat source. So I'm just going to bring it over here to this side of the stove. And I'm going to add in my peanut butter so it can start getting that melted in. So again, it's 2/3 of a cup of peanut butter. And then 3 cups of oats. And again, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Again, do not add your vanilla until it's off of the heat source. And we're just going to stir that all together. Now, the hardest thing with these cookies is having everybody wait to eat them until they're all set up, which doesn't really take that long. But once you kids know that these are in the works, for some reason they just start, they start to come a running. So make sure that you get these setting up quickly so that they'll know. Now, of course, if you make them a little smaller, they're going to set up faster. I made a batch earlier today to show you how they set up and look, and I made them a little bit bigger because the kids in my house nowadays are big enough size that they would eat several of them. So I went ahead and just made them bigger. My scoop. All right, so then with my, I think this is about a tablespoon cookie dough scoop. I'm gonna go ahead and just lay these out. Now I will tell you, I'm not really sure where my Pampered Chef scoop went because I prefer that one, but this one works just as, this one works, not quite as well, but so this is the size I'm making for these. I used a larger scoop for the ones I made earlier today. I have a little boy in our neighborhood that I figured out absolutely loves Jif peanut butter, so I'm looking forward to when the shelter in place is no longer here, so I can make him and his little brother some of these cookies with some Jif peanut butter in them. All right, so this is, we made 42 of these small cookies out of the recipe. Now earlier today, I made some larger ones, and I used a large scoop. The benefit to that is you could eat one cookie, and so less judgment there, right? If you eat one cookie instead of 3. So good for you, success. So they take probably, I would say, in about an hour. Definitely they would be ready to eat. Could be even before that. They're getting more solid now. You can see that I can already pick them up. But I would give it probably at least a half hour before you would eat them. That again, you can freeze them if you're lucky enough that you have any left once the kids know that they're ready to eat. So feel free to let me know what you think and the success that you have with it. We will be making some other recipes later this week, including porcupine meatballs.